So the whole town's watching, crazy Paul, who always did bad things in business and spent too much money, and the town knew his history, and now he believes in Jesus, and there's Tiffany, who is, she's going around praying for people, and she's so nice and so good. Like they're just this funny couple, and then people are like, and they're gonna go down to Florida during COVID and like leave everything behind and live in their trailer down there. And so, left and right people are already in our small town like being like, you guys are crazy, and this doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't Tiffany just go down by herself, and Paul can stay up here and keep working, and the kids can stay in the area they know? And we're just like, all we can tell you is that that's what the Lord's telling us to do, and we are going to rent out our house maybe, or we'll just shut everything down so it won't cost us a lot of money, because our house had just recently been paid off. It's just a tiny little 1910 coal mining house. And we're like, we don't know, but we're only going to be there till May, and then we're going to come back. And I'm thinking, maybe God will use me to do a crusade in this town, or maybe he'll do what he's doing in me and Paul, and we'll be able to do something in our area. Because we had been living in this same house for like 12 years straight, and both my kids were born there and everything. So we were just going to leave the house. And basically, like 2 weeks before we left on this leap of faith to go down to Christ for All Nations, Paul happened to be sleeping at my grandma's house. She lived down the street, and they weren't doing well health-wise, so somebody in our family always slept there for that season. And my husband had never slept there. It was supposed to be me. And but anyway, long story short, he ended up there, and because he was there, my children and I slept upstairs in our little house. And this night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I smelled like cold smoke smell, but I thought it was a fireplace issue downstairs. So I went downstairs, and sure enough, my fireplace was open, and cold air was blowing through the cold fireplace. So I thought, that's the smell of smoke coming, like the ash smell coming up. So I shut it, and I go back upstairs. I don't know how long I was asleep. I don't think it was long, but I fell deep asleep again, and then I smelled that smell again strong. I was like, I just closed that fireplace. And so then I got to thinking, I'm like, well, it's probably a bonfire outside, because that cold air and smoke is coming in through my old windows in this old house. So I get up to go look out of my window upstairs to see like who's having the bonfire late at night in my town. And instead I saw flames on the outside of my house, like coming up towards my window and to the right in my children's room, where they would have been sleeping had my husband been home, because I wouldn't have had them upstairs. So my kids' room was on fire, and the outside of the back of my house was on fire coming up towards my room. And I just went, kids, get out, the house is on fire. And they both sat up, and we just went running out into the snow, because I live in the Northwest and it's snowy. And it's December 10th, and we're supposed to leave December 30th, and before Christmas, all that. And here I am out in the snow, and my house is burning down. And I had to go to my grandma's house and wake up Paul in the dead of night. The house is burning down. He just, what? And he gets on his clothes, runs down the one block just to see our house ablaze. And many people, the reason at the beginning of the story I told you how people were already doubting, crazy Goebels, oh yeah, God's really speaking to them, blah, blah, blah. Like, now my house is burned down. And so it even becomes more apparent to non-believers or to people who aren't walking in, I guess, the same kind of faith at the moment, that this is an obvious sign that you're not supposed to go. Because everybody knows that a house fire is devastating, and everybody knows that it's a huge project, and everybody knows that you have to spend hours and hours with insurance, and there's all this cleanup. And so obviously this is a sign from God that you aren't supposed to go. And I thought that couldn't have been further from the truth. Like, everything in my spirit was like, no, either this is a prophetic sign from the Lord, or the devil does not want me to go to CFAN. Like, he's doing everything in his power to get me to not do this. And so I was just, I was just determined, and I just said, we're going anyway. And so we got in our little green car. We had a tiny little car because our trailer was already part the way down there. We had to meet up with our trailer, and we put this giant hat on it, stuffed it with all of our stuff, grabbed our dog, and took about a month to ourselves as a family, enjoying the country of the United States and just stopping where we wanted to stop, us in our trailer and the car, until we got to Florida.